Hello everyone, this is Chirantan welcoming you to my second presentation on a very common topic, tax deducted at source on transfer of immovable properties. Now this presentation I have divided into two parts. Part 1 will be focusing on the practical queries, the practical issues, and will give you a brief overview of this entire section. Part 2 will be laying emphasis on sections, example, and will be more elaborative and descriptive. Hence, part 2 will be most useful for students. Hope you all like it. Let's proceed.
One day, you decide that you gift a flat to your wife. Now, if you are gifting a flat to your wife, the cost of which or the purchase price of which goes up to 50 lakh and above, then in that case, you have the responsibility or duty to withhold a certain percentage of the payment. Now, what will be that percentage? That percentage is 1%. And the amount that you are withholding is tax deducted at source. Now, let us take an example. If the purchase price of the flat is 50 lakh, you will withhold 1% of 50 lakh, that is 50,000, and you will make payment of 49 lakh 50,000 to the seller. You have withheld 50,000 from the amount that was paid to the seller. Now, what do you do with that 50,000? Do you give a lavish party to your friends? No, absolutely not. You don't do that. You have to deposit that 50,000 to the credit of central government within 30 days from the end of the month in which the payment was made. And not only you will have to deposit the tax, but also you will have to file a return in a format 26QB. Now, what has to be filed? What are the peculiarities? We will see in further slides. In addition to filing return, you will also have to generate Form 16B and hand it over to the seller. Now, the usual question that might pop up is, what if I don't comply? Now, please remember, if you are found guilty of non-compliance, you will be subjected to penalty under Section 271H and interest under Section 234E of Income Tax Act. Now, the penalty is minimum 10,000 and maximum 1 lakh. Whereas the interest is 200 per day of default. So beware, do not ever think of non-compliance. Let's do a quick recap. You purchase an immovable property, the consideration is equal to 50 lakh or over 50 lakh. If these two conditions are fulfilled, you will have to deduct tax at 1% on the total consideration. You will not only have to deposit the tax but also file return in Form 26QB within 30 days from the end of the month in which the payment was made. In addition to that, you will have to generate Form 16B and hand it over to the seller. Now we will see how to fill Form 26QB. First, we have to locate the address. Very simple. Go to Google, type online payment of tax or TIN NSDL. You will be directed to this address. The website address has been specifically mentioned in my slide, if you see right at the top. Now, when you visit this page, on the bottom left hand side of the page, you will find Form 26QB. Now, the government has ensured that Form 26QB should be in the simplest form so that a layman can fill it up very easily. But my advice will be, always take help of your chartered accountant or a professional, because there is a proverb in English called penny wise, pound foolish. When you click on the proceed button, you will be redirected to this page. This is nothing but the online version of Form 26QB. There are various tabs that need to be filled before you can make the payment. So you see taxpayer info, address, property detail, and payment info. What will be the information that would be sought from you? Well, very basic information. For example, your name, your address, your PAN, seller's address, seller's PAN, property details as in the location of the property, the few technical information that might be required from you as in date of credit, date of payment, date of deduction. And once you fill up all these data correctly, you would be redirected to the online payment system through which you can deposit or make the payment of the tax. We have come to the end of the presentation. Now I'll discuss few of the common questions that I come across. So the first one is, are there any exemptions available? Well, section 194 IA has only one exception. Immovable property, if you do not want to fall in the purview of section 194 IA, it has to be rural agricultural land. Rural agricultural land means ग्रामीण क्षेत्र में खेती बाड़ी का जमीन, or else every other immovable property is subject to section 194 IA if you are purchasing it and if it is fulfilling all the conditions that were mentioned before. Moving on to next question. Well, I have purchased a flat which is of rupees 40 lakhs, but I'm also paying parking fees of rupees 10 lakh and club membership fee of 5 lakh and swimming pool fees of another 5 lakh. Will I be subject to section 194 IA? The answer is very simple. Yes. When it comes to consideration, it sums up all the facilities that you are receiving. So, the consideration will be 40 lakh for the flat, 10 lakh for the parking fees, 5 lakh for the club membership fee and 5 lakh for the tennis court fees. So that sums up to 5 plus 5, 10, 10, 20 plus 40, 60 lakhs, which is over and above 50 lakhs. Hence, you will have to deduct tax at source at the rate of 1% when you are making payment to the seller. The next question that I come across is very common. So they ask me as to how will the government know about the transaction of my purchase? I'm just a common man. Now let me tell you very frankly, when you go for registration of your immovable property, you provide all your details, your name, your address, your PAN, everything. Now the Income Tax Department requires the registry office to submit an annual information return where the office is required to provide the department all the high value transaction that has been entered. So rest assured that you can run but you cannot hide. So please do not even think of evading tax. That will actually land you in a lot of trouble. The next issue that a purchaser comes across is the assurance from the builder. The builder tells you that they are a very big company, they are a multi-state operational company, they are very renowned, they have a good goodwill in the market, so you are not required to deduct tax at source for them because they will anyhow pay tax on that particular transaction. Now please remember, howsoever good the builder is, howsoever renowned his name is, howsoever big brand it is, it doesn't matter. Section 194 IA holds you responsible. So if the conditions are fulfilled, that means if the consideration is 50 lakhs and over and you are purchasing an immovable property as in flat, then you will have to deduct tax at the rate of 1% and deposit it to the credit of central government along with the return in form 26 QB within 30 days from the end of the month in which the payment is made. The next issue that I'll be talking about usually takes place when a person goes for the acquisition of a land. What happens is that the seller tells you that he doesn't have a PAN. Now in that case you have two options. First, you will have to tell him that in case if he doesn't provide you the PAN, you will have withhold 20% of the payment. Number one. Number two, the very excuse of not having PAN should not hold good, because as per section 139A of Income Tax Act, it clearly specifies that any sale or purchase of immovable property involving a consideration of over rupees 10 lakh, PAN has to be mandatorily quoted in that particular transaction. That means the seller has to have a PAN if he wants to enter into the transaction of selling or purchasing of immovable property over rupees 10 lakh. So do not fall for the excuse of not having a PAN and not deducting tax at source. With this, I've come to the end of part 1 of section 194IA, which has been targeted towards the people who are practically entering into these kind of transactions. Hope it helps you and serves some fruitful purpose. Thank you. Stay home, stay safe.